The butterfly effect is defined as the idea that a small cause, such as the flap of a butterfly's wings, can result in dramatic effects, like altering the path of a tornado. This is also sometimes referred to as chaos theory, which is defined as the phenomenon whereby a minute, localized change in a complex system can have large effects elsewhere. A meteorology professor and mathematician by the name of Edward Lorenz, who searched for a means to predict weather, gave a lecture in 1972 wherein he stated, "A butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil can produce a tornado in Texas." In an experiment to predict the weather, he used a computer to enter precise variables and discovered that any small change in those variables, such as change in temperature or wind speed, caused a dramatic change in the simulated 2 months forecast of weather predictions. His writings, speeches, and interviews conveyed that the butterfly is a symbolic representation of an unknowable quantity, making the phrase butterfly effect now common to use to describe situations wherein a small cause can produce a large effect. It became so popular that the title The Butterfly Effect was even used in the creation of a popular 2004 movie. And there are many examples of the butterfly effect. For instance, did you know that the Lego Group began in a carpentry workshop that mostly assisted in the construction of houses and furniture? The workshop, owned by Ole Kirk Christensen, a Danish carpenter, burned down in 1924 when a fire ignited some of the wood shavings. Ole Kirk then constructed a larger workshop to expand his business. But when the Great Depression hit, he had fewer customers and had to become creative, shifting his focus to smaller projects. Those projects consisted of producing miniature versions of his products, such as stepladders and ironing boards, which led to his inspiration to begin producing toys. When plastic became available, he began producing miniature bricks. Now, the Lego Company is a very popular and profitable line of construction toys and related products and services, to include board games, retail stores, video games, films, theme parks, and consultant services. It's also said that Lego pieces outnumber humans by 62 to 1. In another example of the butterfly effect, a fictitious book called Friday the 13th, written by a stockbroker named Thomas Lawson in 1907, is said to cause extensive losses to the U.S. economy on that particular day. The book is written about a businessman's attempt to crash the stock market on Friday the 13th, creating a link between bad luck on those Fridays and poor stock market performance. In researching the book's effects, one publication states, the S&P's 500 stock index performs worse on Fridays that end in 13 than it does on every other Friday. And Priceonomics.com states, since traders are subject to both market forces and the whims of their fellow traders, financial markets could be the one place where superstitions have a basis in reality. You don't need to avoid black cats on Friday the 13th, but you should avoid scheduling your IPO that day. And although I wasn't able to verify it, it's also been stated that the U.S. economy loses $900 million on this day because instead of going to work, holiday, or out shopping, people stay home instead. And another more recent example of how ideas spread and impact individuals is Blendtec's Will It Blend videos. The company, Blendtec, which sells blenders, turned their brand for an everyday household item into a viral sensation. Because the company's founder, Tom Dixon, was always testing the power and durability of their blenders, their marketing director, George Wright, used a very small budget to begin using this testing to create a video series called Will It Blend, where random objects are used for this testing, with one video attempting to blend an iPad and pulling in 19 million views. These examples show two things. 1, small things can have large effects. And 2, everything seemingly is interconnected. Essentially, each path and decision has the ability to produce a different outcome. Our thoughts, beliefs, decisions, and actions set a ripple into motion that affects our lives and the lives of others. Can you think of one small event in your life that if it had been different, it would have drastically altered the events that you experienced? We are in a constant state of creation, a state of cause and effect. Each moment in our lives and the occurrences in those moments can be taken back to the very moment before. This isn't necessarily mystical. We experience these ripple effects all of the time, even if they go unnoticed. But have you ever noticed that when you smile at a stranger, they almost always offer a smile in return? And have you ever heard that with just one small gesture, you could change someone's life? Maybe you have, even if unknowingly. The golden rule seems to directly relate to this effect. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Our actions have great value, and examining those actions prior to making them can be the small change that produces the larger effects. One immediate way to begin creating these positive changes is by choosing an optimistic mindset. Yes, it is a choice. And with this choice, some individuals may even find that they did not realize that their dominant mindset habitually moved in a negative direction. But the choice begins the change, and our thoughts can immediately be altered to create a ripple effect that directly impacts our reality. In fact, just by choosing to have an optimistic mindset, you can begin to create the habit of that so it becomes a natural occurrence in your life. With new thoughts and choices, even more new thoughts and choices are created. This leads to new beliefs, new behavior, and new actions. One way to begin implementing these action ripple effects is by creating a butterfly effect 30-day calendar. Write down several small things that you can do each day that will have a positive effect on you or someone else, and then commit to following through with those actions. This could be as simple as smiling at everyone you meet all day long, or committing to turning every thought that comes into your mind into a positive one, or deciding to give compliments to others, or be grateful for every single thing you encounter, or wake up a few minutes earlier so that you can dedicate some time to something you're passionate about. There's a great example offered on compound interest that shows how a small change can create a huge impact, and we can use this example to compare how our lives might increase in abundant ways by investing in ourselves. On this chart, you can see how starting with just 1 penny on day 1 and doubling the previous day's investment each day for 30 days can rapidly reap huge rewards. Even if you don't see a 100% return each day, the principle of compounding holds true for smaller returns, again showing the power of the butterfly effect. And this is true of the returns in our lives. The choices that we make continuously grow and shape our lives, and what we put out, we receive back, often multiplied. With just one choice, things that are in alignment with that decision will begin to present themselves to you, compounding the interest of those choices, essentially paying you for the choices you made. This is true whether we consciously do it or not, or whether we do it in a positive or negative way. As Sean Acker wrote in his book, The Happiness Advantage, each one of us is like that butterfly from the butterfly effect, and each tiny move toward a more positive mindset can send ripples of positivity through our organizations, our families, and our communities. Think back over the chain of cause and effect in your own life. What decisions did you make that got you where you are today? And what's a simple choice that you could make right now that moves you in the direction of the life that you want to live? You can set the intention right now to make that decision by putting it in the comments section. Every day we make choices that affect the course of our lives. And just one choice that you make today could be the seed that changes your life and/or the lives of those you love in abundantly positive ways.